Hey, everybody! Aloha and mahalo for joining me once again for another exciting, head-scratching episode of Insane Disappearances as I read from A Sobering Coincidence, David Paulides' #1 seller books, Missing 411. Now, okay, my last two videos I had some sound quality problems. I found out what the situation was. The volume was up too high on my laptop, so I turned it down a little bit and I did a test video. And I sound perfect, to where there won't be like a really weird echo in the background. So I should be okay now, hopefully. But I did test it, and I sounded a lot better than I did the last two videos. So this video should be just as exciting and more hearable. So there won't be any more complaints. And I'm sorry about that. I got it under control, so we can move on. All right, today, Wednesday. It is January something 2017. That something will be January 11th. That's today's date. This is Wednesday, and like I said before, I like to try and get my videos in on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So today is Wednesday, so I'm starting now, and I'm wide awake. I'm up. I was off yesterday, so yeah. Oh, all right, here we go. Today's story takes place in Louisiana, the state where they do all those crazy, Mardi Gras, the Mardi Gras state. All right. Okay, now this one is about a young man named Jeremy Houk. It's Houk. So I hope I said that right, Houk, or like Houk, or something like that. Anyway, he went missing on 3/01/2003. He was at the age of 19 when he disappeared in New Orleans, Louisiana. Okay. Now this is coming from David Paulides himself, of course. He says every story I write resonates with me for a different reason. I've spent many weeks traveling in and around the Seattle area for a variety of reasons. I was doing the background on this incident when I learned that Jeremy Houk was from Seattle, and his mom, Gina Marie Lindsay, was the airport director for Seattle's airport SeaTac, a location I've flown into dozens of times. I've never flown into SeaTac since without thinking of Jeremy's mom and the tragedy she endured. Jeremy was a very smart student. He graduated from the Seattle Academy of Arts and Sciences, where he was a debate champion. He decided to attend Tulane University in New Orleans and major in pre-law. He was known as a very social person who enjoyed a good conversation. One Friday night, February 28th, 2003, Jeremy went with friends to a fraternity party in the uptown section of New Orleans. It was the Friday before Fat Tuesday, and the town was partying. The following is a statement that appeared in a March 12th, 2003 article on Como News, Como News about Jeremy and his behavior at the party. His roommate Mark Bennett says he was acting oddly. He was being very aggressive towards people for seemingly no reason at all. Bennett says that he tried to get Houk to cool down, but the 19-year-old Seattle man left the party on his own. This was the last time I saw him, says Bennett. Now, as in every missing person case, various people claim to have seen Jeremy on buses, rail cars, and walking in the city. Nothing was ever positively confirmed. He didn't return to his room that night or the following morning, and was subsequently listed as one of hundreds of people who have gone missing in the last several years in New Orleans. Let's see. The search for Jeremy included jails, hospitals, morgues, and the Tulane campus. Jeremy's family got frustrated and wanted more details, so they hired 2 private investigators to track down more clues. Nothing happened until May 13, 2003, when a tugboat operator on the Mississippi River in the Lower Garden neighborhood near the wharf on 3rd Street noticed a body in the water. New Orleans police recovered a body along with a diver's license and a student ID card, diver's license, student ID card. So that makes it look like he actually dove in the water on purpose. I guess if he had a diver's license. But anyway, diver's license and student ID card, in the name of Jeremy Houk. The body was positively identified weeks later through dental records as Jeremy. A May 16, 2003 article in the Seattle Times had the following details about Jeremy's autopsy. Orleans Parish Coroner Frank Minyard yesterday announced that an autopsy was so far inconclusive, although Houk had no broken bones and no evidence of violence. Minyard said it's likely Houk drowned, although the coroner was waiting for toxicology test results to show whether alcohol or drugs were factors. The next statement from Dr. Minyard in this article is identical to almost every case I have chronicled. Now, how he got in the water, that's the question. Yeah, because that's weird, because it shows that he was at a party, he was very unruly. Obviously, he was drinking a lot. He got drunk to the point where he was very unmanageable. So he ended up leaving the party. He was being real nasty to everybody, being aggressive to people, probably wanted to get some, but nobody was giving him any. So he tried to probably say, well, you ain't no anyway, you ain't nothing but a, you know what, you ain't nothing but a bitch and all this stuff. So who knows what he probably was saying at that point. So he left the party alone. He was probably like, man, forget you mugs, man, I'm getting out of here. Forget you motherfuckers. So he walks out on his own. Next thing you know, bam, he's in the water, just like all the rest. Now, it doesn't. He said that there was some detailed information from other people that stated that they saw him walking the street. They saw him in other places. One of them was let me see. They said they checked jails and morgues and all that stuff, but a lot of these places the information was inconclusive. So that doesn't mean that just even though they said it, that don't mean that that's who it was that they saw. It could have been someone that was fitting. That was fitting his fitting his appearance. But still, the bottom line is somehow, some way, as he was walking away, he ended up in the river. Which is a complete mystery, because obviously, I don't know, maybe it was on his mind that he was going to go home at that point. But somehow, some way, he, once again, like all the others, he veered off and went towards the Mississippi River and drowned in the river. But there was no evidence of any foul play, meaning there was no wounds on the body. So how he drowned at that point is a complete mystery. How he ended up in the water is a complete mystery. Now, going back to what they said about the people, I'm trying to find that part of what they were saying. Aside from the autopsy being inconclusive because there was no evidence of any kind of violence, he was just dead in the water. And even the results of the alcohol level hasn't become a major factor in the case, because it didn't even say that that's the reason why he ended up in the water. But the part where it says that people were saying that they saw him in different areas, he was partying, the following statements appeared in chapter 13. Let's see, Mark Bennett, his friend, said he was acting real crazy at that point. Let's see, like I said, he left the party on his own, and that was the last time anybody saw him at that point. and it didn't say where he was headed. It just said he left the party. Now, it says here that people, here we go. Let's see, various people claimed to have seen Jeremy on buses, rail cars, and walking in the city. So, who's to say that one of those people might have been him? He might have been on a bus trying to get to where he was trying to go, which is probably home. But obviously, he didn't make it there. Now, at that point, he said he was a student, as usual, like the rest of them. And he attended a school in New Orleans. But, they said he was a debate champion, So he was going to school. He went to a party just like all the other college kids. Got drunk, got crazy, and he ended up leaving by himself. He didn't have to be escorted out of the building. So he left on his own because obviously, like I said, he was probably trying to get some that night. He wasn't getting none. Everybody was ignoring him because he was acting so crazy. And he leaves the party. Now, where he went after that, where he was planning to go, we don't know. Maybe he was going back to his mom's house. Maybe that could have been where he was going, but it was never indicated that's where he was headed to. They just said he left the party. Next thing you know, he ends up in the water. Now, let's see. Now, it says on, trying to make sure I knew exactly what date that was. Now, it was saying like they hired a private investigator to find him on March 13th. And nothing happened until March 13th when the tugboat operator found him in the water in the Mississippi River. So, let me see. March 12th. Okay, so he disappeared, basically. He disappeared on March 12th. March 28th, 2003. March 1st. I'm sorry. March 1st is when he disappeared. But on March 12th, that's when all the stuff started happening as far as the investigations and stuff like that. So March 1st, 2003, he disappeared. And after that, March 13th, that's when they found the body. March 13th, 2003. Now, was that on a Friday? I don't know. But for me, that's a lucky number 13. But yeah, it's crazy because there's no indication of where he was after he left the party. They just know that he walked out of the party and left on his own. And then on March 1st, he ends up in the water. So on February 28th, he was at a party. So a month later, let me see. Yeah, a month later, on the 1st, that's when he was reported missing. So, okay, you got March 1st, 2003. February 21st, he went to a party. March 12th is when everything started happening. So somewhere between March 12th and February 28th and March 12th, he disappeared, which was on the 1st. But yeah, that's a crazy one because that's the weirdest part of all these cases. You never know exactly where they were going. Some people say they know where in some cases they do tell you where they're going, but somewhere they don't ever get there. So between point A and point B, they somehow vanish without a trace, but they end up in a river somewhere or in a body of water, or sometimes they don't come back at all. They just vanish, into thin air. So there was no call to 911. There was no calling a friend. So he just vanished and ends up dead without a reason to be dead in the first place. So with these cases, those are the creepiest ones. I love those, but at the same time, I hate them because nobody's able to figure out why these people are ending up dead without a cause of death. And once again, just like I said before, it has got to be something from another world, another dimension, another parallel Earth, or some other reality that is able to kill someone without touching them. And that right there is the pinnacle part of this entire situation with these people who are turning up dead. This person has an ability that no other person has, especially a human. And if it isn't human, like I said, he is from another reality where fiction is actually reality on that world. Okay, they probably do have a Superman. They probably do have a bunch of people that have powers like the people from Heroes. So I don't know. I mean, it's anybody's guess as far as what is really going on here. But Rest assured, I am going to be here with all the theories I could think of to make people realize that there is a such thing as truthful folklore and truthful fiction. Okay? Now, like I said, these ideas had to come from somewhere in time. Okay, so a lot of this stuff probably was happening, but as it got passed down from generation to generation, it became nothing but a story that was unbelievable to other people because of their faithful beliefs. Okay, no person wants to believe that their kid was abducted by aliens. No parent wants to believe that their kid was taken away and brought to another dimension to where they'll never be able to return. Nobody wants to even fathom that a person is walking in the woods hiking and somehow walks through a wall of energy that leads them to another dimension or another parallel earth, to where they have to live out the rest of their lives in a place that they're not familiar with. It may look like our planet or our earth, but it's not our earth, because nobody there is somebody they know, but they had no other choice but to stay there, just like all the other people that disappeared without a trace. And I think that's what it is. They don't just vanish like that. They're still alive. They just living their life in another place. They probably got married, had kids. The laws of physics are probably different. The laws alone is probably different, where they can do things that they couldn't do here. I don't know, but like I say, if they live on a parallel earth, everything is backwards, where everything is their laws are completely different, to where he could probably do things that he couldn't do here. And obviously, wherever these people are coming from, they're able to kill people and not get caught. They have some type of innate ability where they can kill someone without even touching you. They use their mind to cause trauma within the body, which also causes you to die from the trauma. So therefore, you standing there, you messing with their mind to the point where they die, and then when you finish killing them, you just leave them there as a lifeless corpse. Now, I have plenty of theories in that area. They either somehow phase their hand through the skull and remove the brain, because they probably need it for some type of experiment, or they're trying to create a better human, or they're killing a person with their mind, causing them to die from the trauma, and then they leave them marked for dead. Now, also, the fact that they use all these different characteristics from all over the world to put into all of these killings, like the finding the bodies face down all the time. That is a definite depiction from Hawaiian folklore, with the night marchers of Oahu, where they leave you marked for dead. They tell you have to, bury your head in the sand butt naked, as a show of respect for the night marchers, because they carry the same respect that the king of Hawaii had, King Kamehameha. And his law was, you had to not ever look at him in the eye unless you were allowed to. You never looked him in the eye, and if you did, you would probably be killed. But to show him respect, you had to strip down to your naked body, and you had to probably wallow around in the dirt and smell like an animal and move around like an animal. That was his way of showing him. That was your way of showing him respect. So they carried that same respect. If they saw you before you saw them, you had to strip down your clothes and bury your head in the sand until they walk away. If you see them before they see you, you need to get off the beach and head home. You never want to have a house within that path that they travel to get to the beach, or to find the ancient, to find people who were related to the Hawaiian royalty. But anyway, the whole point is, a lot of characteristics in these cases are found in a lot of our very own folklore and legendary stories. So obviously, these so-called folkloric stories and mythical stories and legends, all this stuff is real if you find those characteristics in all of these killings. So trust and believe, my people. It is all real. Legends are actual fact. Legends about Bigfoot, legends about werewolves and chupacabras, the Mothman, any kind of creature that you think is just nothing but a story or a legend, it is all real. Like I said in my last video, I saw a video on YouTube where someone caught a video of this big long creature with these like wings just flying over the city of Brooklyn, my hometown, and it just disappeared out of the view of the camera. Weird, my people. Weird, very weird, but very true. There's even video of dragons flying in parts of Asia. Okay, now I'm not gonna say that there is no such thing as CGI. I know there is, but still, a lot of these stories come from some portion of fact from way back in those ancient days. Okay, they wouldn't have had these stories unless there was something that existed back in those days. I'm just saying, these stories had to come from something. Nobody just made this stuff up. It had to have came from some form of truth. Back in the days of old. I don't know. I wasn't there, so I never seen it. But I can tell you this: they're all real. All of it is real. And some of the folklores, the characteristics are found in these stories. If you read it carefully, you can tell that it comes from a lot of these ancient stories that you find in books or whatever. Okay, so all I'm saying is open up your mind, people, and realize that everything that you hear about that is a story or folklore, legend, or myth, it's real. Trust me, it's real. You don't have to have facts or evidence to know that something is real. You just have to know that it's real. Open up your mind and realize that it never was fake. It never was a story. They just use these stories to make money off of it. Just like movies. Movies get their ideas from these ancient stories. And like I said, these stories had to come from something that was true in the past. And a lot of people just don't think like that. They really don't, because of their beliefs. It's like I said before, and like how David Paulides said before. These words came from him. That it's easy for a parent to believe that. It is easy for a parent to believe that their son or daughter or sibling or whoever else was kidnapped by a person or abducted by a person. They will never say that I know my son was abducted by aliens, or I know my son disappeared because he walked into a vortex and ended up on another world somewhere. They're never going to say that. Never. Because all they're thinking about is bringing their kid home or bringing their family member home or their friend. And I understand that. I'm not sure if my daughter disappeared in a national park, I would probably say the same thing. But I know better, because I know there's something weird going on out there. I would have enough guts to mention this in public. I wouldn't care. If you try to block me out, I'm going to keep saying it until you hear it. If I got to post it on the internet, if I got to post it on social media, I don't care. You're going to hear what I got to say, whether you like it or not. And I will storm into the National Park Service and demand to see the superintendent. And if you don't want to see me, I will demand to see. I will say I am not leaving here until you talk to me. If I have to shoot a gun in the air to make everybody leave who doesn't work for the park, I will do that too. That's just coming from my father's standpoint. Okay, if you got answers and you don't want to tell me, you are going to tell me, even if I have to. I won't say torture you, but if I have to force it out of you, I will, because I'm not that kind of person. I'm not a violent person. But when it comes to the safety of my daughter or any family member I have, you best believe I am going to be making sure that I get some answers. And see, I can believe that that there is something out there that we can't explain. You don't have to act like I don't know, or I don't, you don't have to act like I don't need to know, because if I already know that there's something weird out there, naturally, I'm gonna want to find out. Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize you can switch the videos around. But anyway, yeah, that's my time on that case. Of course, as always, like I've always been saying, I got more coming. So stay tuned. Keep them eyes peeled. Keep them ears open to hear for more notifications about my videos. Okay, so this is probably going to be my last video for tonight, and I got another one. Well, not tonight, but for this early in the morning, I'll probably post another one later on today, or tonight when I come home, because I have to be to work by 12 o'clock today. So, but like as always, in parting, aloha, mahalo, and ahui ho. Peace out, guys. Be blessed, be safe, and Have a nice night. Sweet dreams.